For the hour is nigh. Welcome to the instrument of your destruction. I'm uh I'm talking about my podcast. Like this podcast. Yeah. Guys, welcome back for another episode of Rants. I am Mudcat, your host. As always, this is episode 30 or 30. I don't know which way you're watching this video if you're watching the video. Um it is an exciting time, I guess. 30 episodes in. I'm going to be 30 in like 3 weeks, so maybe it's fitting. Maybe I won't do another episode until I'm 30, and then we'll like continue the next saga. I'm watching a lot of Dragon Ball Z lately, so I'm really into sagas right now. So I'm trying to like create sagas in my own life. Uh, guys, if you have been hanging out around the stream lately, I appreciate it. Appreciate you being here today. We're going to talk about perspective and reflection. What does that mean? I have no idea. I never know anything, man. I never know what's going to happen or what I'm going to say on this podcast until it happens. Really, I don't write very many notes or any at all. And you guys listen to it and you think that I have some sort of insight and some sort of advice that you can maybe take for your life or for your stream or for your whatever. And the truth is, I don't know what I'm talking about. And you guys are a bunch of suckers and you eat it up and you gobble it up and you're like, great podcast, man, great podcast. And I'm like, yeah, if you only knew. And so that's the way it goes. You guys consume whatever I put out without any question, and I just feed you a line of bullshit, and then we're both happy in our ignorance. Yeah, that's how podcast works, right? I think that's how podcasting works. I don't know. That's what we're gonna keep running this one though. Okay, I'm gonna pretend like I know what I'm talking about, and you guys pretend like you believe me. Okay, and then we'll all be good. Guys, we're going to talk about perspective and reflection today, though. Talking about looking back, and gauging, where we are and things like that. This is kind of something that I've been into a lot lately because of just some changes I've made to the stream, stuff we talked about last week, which I'll kind of go back over again, or the last episode, not last week. It's actually been a couple weeks. But things that we've talked about in the past in the previous episode, and so kind of in order to like make some of these changes, I had to take a look back. I had to reflect. I had to get some perspective, in order to make what I feel is the best decision for me, my content, my stream, my community, whatever, what have you. Um, and so, if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you haven't listened to the last episode, we recently underwent a schedule change. I'm just like a week and a half into that. That's going pretty well. Streaming from 6 hours straight now, 10 to 4, just late night, no afternoons. It kind of sucks because I missed some of the names and people in chat that were in only in afternoon because they have day jobs and they can't come at late night. Hopefully I'll be able to catch them on the weekends. I wasn't able to stream last Saturday, but hopefully I'll be able to catch some of them on the weekends. Definitely kind of you know there's some names in there that have been around a while and kind of miss seeing them around every once in a while. But that's kind of how it goes, I guess. Like had to make a judgment call, and so far, I think I'm being rewarded for it. Um, like I said, things were down, and I thought part of that was because um I was not producing the best content I could, and part of that was because of my schedule I was keeping, and I was tired. I was splitting my schedule and like kind of dividing my energy. Um, I feel like streams have gone better. I've had, ended up with better numbers at the end of the night because I streamed for a longer period, kind of allowing a little bit more buildup. Um, I felt like the conversations I've been having um, have been more engaged and more energetic because have more energy to talk about things and I'm more interested in things, and I don't have to like split up my topics and talk about something like in the afternoon and at night. Like I only talk about it like one time, so like kind of gets rid of some of the fatigue about talking about the same topics. So it's been interesting. It's we're starting 2 hours earlier than we were, so like starting out, it was kind of interesting because my numbers are not you know um maybe where they would be normally. Like they're a little lower starting out, but it grows um to usually much larger than I was ending up at the end of the night before. So it's interesting that I'm starting with a smaller group of people because I'm starting earlier, and maybe those people are watching somebody else, or like just because my schedule changed didn't mean their schedule changed, right? Um and so as we're so I turn on the stream and there's like less people there to start with, but it ends up with more people and people are more engaged, I feel like. um and a new content schedule has been very nice, like helping me like just pick what to play what night. And so like Mondays, tonight's a Monday, I'm going to be playing Sea of Thieves tonight. And that's awesome. So everything seems to be going well. I feel like I kind of took a little bit of a risk chopping off my um afternoon stream, and I feel like the added, I don't know, just the added focus or energy of having the one stream, and doing it late night and doing it the way I'm doing it has benefited me more than running two streams. And so I feel a little justified. I mean, it's still a little early to tell, but in order to do that, to make that decision, I had to reflect back, right? I had to look back and look at everything that's been going on and how my channel's grown and what content people watch and what content don't watch. It's a funny thing. We're gonna get into story time. We're gonna get into story time. So first of all, announcement time and then story time. If you follow me on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, you should, Mudcat TV on both. You should follow me on those. Go do it right now. Twitter.com/MudcatTV. Instagram.com/MudcatTV. Come give me a follow. Um, I'm very engaging on Twitter. I like Twitter a lot. So, you might have seen that if you follow me on those, you might have seen that um, we are now officially a Sea of Thieves partner. So, Sea of Thieves has released, they released a couple weeks back their creator crew, and they released recently this week the fact that they're going to have a partner program. And so this is something I've known for a while, and I've kind of had to keep hush hush, and couldn't talk about it until it was time to announce. But so we partnered with Sea of Thieves, and that comes with several perks about access to developers and collaborations and some swag and some in-game stuff that'll be cool. And really just a better, like a really close working relationship with Sea of Thieves, which is great because that's a game that I love. And um I feel like I'm one of the leaders in that directory on Mixer. um and I feel like it's a directory that I won't say that I built or anything. I'm not going to take credit for that, but I feel like I helped build. Back when nobody was playing it, really. I feel like there's a handful of people that really built that directory, um, and kept people's interest in it. Through some pretty sparse times until like more content came out, and now people are kind of into it because there's new regular content. And that's cool to see like new streamers coming in with the creator crew and like more people being interested and people still watching it. And there's still I think there's still some more Sea of Thieves news to be had. Shout out to Sea of Champions. Actually, it's a group of guys, a couple of guys I played against in the Battle for Orlando, actually starting an arena league. They just announced that today, and it's $1,000. There'll be 5 crews they'll pick, battling for $1,000 for the first one. And hopefully these will be regular arena, matches. And I don't know if I can say a lot more than that because I don't know a ton more. Um, but I've been talking to those guys and kind of getting involved in their community, and I'm very excited about the future of maybe some community based esports um, for Sea of Thieves. But the reason I bring up all Sea of Thieves is number one because I'm a partner now, so I gotta flex anytime I can, right? Sea of Thieves partners suck it. Uh, but Sea of Thieves is, we're talking about reflection and perspective. Is the kind of the perfect example for me to like talk about this. Number one, when I'm changing my schedule and things, and the content schedule, like I set aside an entire day just for Sea of Thieves, and I left open other days where I could also play Sea of Thieves, because for me, Sea of Thieves is, whether I like it or not, is one of my main games, right? Whether I want it to be or not, I probably get a better turnout when I play Sea of Thieves than anything else. I mean, granted, I am the Pirate King of Mixer, uh, so that makes sense, right? And I've built this brand around Sea of Thieves. I've had a lot of growth around Sea of Thieves, so I have a lot of Sea of Thieves folks. Um, and that's cool and that's great. But so it's funny how I ended up here. And so we're gonna go way back. We're gonna go way back to when I was on Twitch. And Sea of Thieves was launching, right? March 20th of 2018, right? It seems way longer than that. Um, Now it's November, or sorry, no, it's not November. It's September of 2019. Seems way longer than that for me for some reason. I guess because maybe I played alpha and beta and stuff. So, and I was waiting for it since since it was launched. I was just like chomping at the bit to play the game. But we were on Twitch, and I was playing a lot of games, and Twitch was, it is what it was. I wasn't growing as, I was growing faster than a lot of my peers, but I wasn't growing as fast as I wanted to. I wasn't getting the success that I wanted to have. And that's probably a lot of different reasons. Partly, part of that's probably me and my content style wasn't, fully developed, and I probably wasn't doing things, right. And my schedule was probably whatever. And um I didn't probably, give it enough of a try. But Sea of Thieves, I thought, here's a game. I got a pirate theme stream. I've been waiting for this game forever. Like, this is gonna be the end all be all game for me. I'm gonna play nothing else but Sea of Thieves, and I'm gonna stream nothing else but Sea of Thieves, and that's what's gonna do it for me. I had this thought that Sea of Thieves was gonna be it. That Sea of Thieves was gonna be my main game on stream. Um, and it was a done deal. And like, I was gonna, get into that community. I was in the forums early. I was on Reddit talking about it. I was um trying to get within the community and just outside of my stream before the game even came out. So I thought, yeah, this is my way into the community and into the into the Twitch Hall of Fame, as it were. That was, I guess, my thought back then. I don't know if it was in those words exactly, but better. I had a plan. I had a plan. Well, that plan failed fucking miserably. Because of that time, I was playing a lot of Overwatch, and I was playing with friends, playing PUBG and a little bit of Fortnite and some other stuff, and Halo. And I was part of a big Halo community, and a lot of my guys were like super big Halo users and players. And so I hadn't built out a community that was, geared towards watching Sea of Thieves. And to be fair, I think at the time I wasn't necessarily really good at conveying why Sea of Thieves is cool and doing things in Sea of Thieves that people would want to watch. Or um maybe I, again, goes back to just generic content style. Like, maybe people just weren't interested in me as much as I thought they were, in my stream. um and so that, failed miserably, just miserably. um and it's funny because then March, March, I didn't try that for very long, I guess. Man, if you look at the timeline, I really, hmm, I moved to Mixer in May of 2018, so I didn't really realize those were so close in time frames. Like, I didn't realize that those things were so close. But here we are reflecting and having some perspective. Um, moved to Mixer, and then things just kind of like went from where they were then to now. And I went back to playing a lot of Overwatch and a lot of stuff, other stuff I wanted to play, because Sea of Thieves just didn't do it for me. And um and so I was like, okay, well, I got to play something else that works. Sea of Thieves obviously doesn't work, and I didn't try playing Sea of Thieves right away on Mixer, which is funny. Like, it probably would have gone really well, honestly. Playing Sea of Thieves on Mixer when no one was playing Sea of Thieves on Mixer, um, probably would have gone over well. I don't know. We didn't try. So, but I came and I started doing my other stuff. I started playing some For Honor and Overwatch and Destiny and like these other games I was interested in. And you fast forward till I'm partnered, and I go, I played Sea of Thieves occasionally through then at that point, and through the fall. Wasn't gonna say like, but most of this my Sea of Thieves was maybe like off stream or whatever. Um, but you fast forward to like January. Well, and here I am. I'm like, hey, you know what? Why I'm gonna play Sea of Thieves. Like, nobody's playing Sea of Thieves. Maybe a couple of guys in the daytime, but like nighttime when I was streaming, like nobody was playing Sea of Thieves. Not really. Nobody with any numbers, to be fair. And I was starting to pick up on numbers a bit, and I'm like, well, yeah, I'm gonna go crush this directory for a little while. And so I made it a regular thing. It wasn't like an everyday thing, but I played regularly, and I played regularly, and I played regularly. I started, building a community that was interested in Sea of Thieves. And then we got wind of the Mixer Loots thing happening. And as a partner, I got wind of that a little earlier than most. And I decided, hey, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna play nothing but Sea of Thieves until that Mixer Loot thing happens. And when that thing drops, I'm gonna own the directory. Like, my goal is to be the number one Sea of Thieves streamer. I don't care who else comes in that directory. I don't care if the biggest names on Mixer come to that directory. They're not gonna beat me. They're not gonna knock me down to the bottom of the directory. That's not happening. It's my directory. That was my mentality. Um, and so that's how I approached it. And so I played, and that was a grueling 2 months. because I was just running Athena's Quest, Athena's Quest, Athena's Quest, Athena's Quest, and like was so done, man. I was so done with Sea of Thieves by the time that Mixer loot came. And then I was like, you know what, we're gonna play every day. And then I didn't really think I was gonna play 12 hours a day or more, but then things from the first day really took off, right? And we talked about this in an early episode. They just took off, and so I was like, well, shit, yeah, I'm gonna play 4 to 4 every day, and I wasn't gonna play on a Wednesday. I'm like, nope, I'm gonna play on that Wednesday, and then that's the Wednesday I got 1,000 followers in a day, and I was like, holy shit, like it. But that was me preparing, right? That was me making a plan, and it could have failed miserably, right? I could have spent 2 months grinding nothing but Sea of Thieves, and I could have gone into Sea of Thieves, and someone like Cabby, who was playing Sea of Thieves, could have come in and just those caliber of streamers could have come in and just demolished the directory, and I could have been way down, and no one, could have been the same scenario as Twitch, where I shoot my shot and nobody responds. Um, but the difference this time is I had built a community that was interested in watching me, and so that gave me a leg up um, when it came time to do that mixer loot, and then just streaming for a long period of time and allowed me to work my way up the directory and get into the top 3 or 4 spots, which were actually on the mixer homepage as well. So it was basically like having a front page feature for an entire week. Um, and I'm kind of I'm kind of proud of that strategy, and I'm proud that the um was it lucky that they featured Sea of Thieves? Yeah, I was lucky, and all that stuff. But I put in a shitload of work to make that happen. I went out and made it happen. Um, and so that's something that, like, I'm proud of. It's probably the time in my growth that I had the most control over. You know what I mean? Like, so you have so little control all the time in your growth. Like, you can try things, and, like, usually they go okay, and, like, you're like, yeah, okay, cool, that worked. But this was a time where, like, I made a plan, I stuck to that plan, and it fucking paid, man. It paid in dividends. And it's still paying me. It's that is the that's the thing that made people on Mixer know who I was in terms of Sea of Thieves. That's the thing. Even now I get people like, oh, you're the Sea of Thieves guy, from when I go to conventions and stuff. I'm like, you're right, I am. um but that's the one that gave me, because I had spent so much time in the directory. That's the one when Sea of Thieves came to look for people to compete in the battle for LA. They saw, like, hey, who's in this directory and who's actually playing the game for months and months and months, not just somebody who showed up for mixer loots. That gave me that opportunity. That opportunity opened up a door for me to meet the developers and form a relationship there, and to meet them again at Guardian Con, and then after that to be invited into this partner program. Um, because I represent Sea of Thieves on Mixer. I'm one of the, like I said, I'm one of the handful of people that really are the kind of the top of that directory most of the time. Um, and it's interesting how we got there. And it's so this is a long-winded story, but it's interesting because I couldn't play Sea of Thieves on Twitch. I didn't have the community. Like, nobody wanted to watch me play Sea of Thieves. Fast forward a year, I'm playing Sea of Thieves as like my main game. Like, it all worked out. It's so weird. But it was two different approaches. One was just me, like, playing the game, being like, yeah, I'm just gonna play. And another one was me having a plan, and making an educated guess, and then putting in a lot of groundwork to make it happen. And to kind of fill in the gaps where it was lacking. And so it's interesting. You have to. So reflection's important. I think reflecting is important in terms of content creation and everything, because, like, how can you appreciate what you have now if you don't look back and remember what it was like then. How can I appreciate having more viewers and more followers and subs and getting donations and things, when I can't remember, if I can't remember what it was like when I streamed for years and never got a single donation, you know what I mean? um or a single sub or a single follower, whatever, or a viewer. Like, if I can't remember streaming to 0 viewers, then how can I appreciate streaming to hundreds of viewers or thousands or whatever it is you're streaming towards? um and I think that's a good rule. Like, it pays. I think it pays to reflect, because when you look, there's certain points, I guess, of growth, and when you look back, right, if you're walking in a straight line, and You're putting a marker on a certain point, and a certain point, and a certain point. You're laying down a marker, right? Once you walk further enough away, you can turn around and you can see all those markers, right? And you can see, am I walking in that same line, right? Am I following that same path, or are my markers, off in different directions, or have I veered from that from the start? Now, I mean, that's not a great example because 2 points always make a line, but if you have more than 2 points, then you'll be able to see that it's not maybe necessarily a line. You see what I'm saying here? Uh, I mean, either way, you're looking at it, you're in a line, but just ignore everything I just said. Whatever. Some of you get it. You're the smart ones. There's that bullshit I was talking about earlier. Just go with it. You know what I mean? But like, so if you don't look back, like it's good to look back to see where you're going, because maybe you look back and you say, hey, this is how I used to do things, and it's worked up to this point, and things start to veer off, and things start to change, and maybe things are not as successful, and maybe you've changed. Maybe what you're doing has changed. um you see a lot of people on social media that get hammered for saying, people are like, every once in a while you'll see someone be like, they'll have a viewer or somebody or whatever, say, you've changed, you blah 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 blah, you only care about subs, you only care about money, you only care about yada yada yada, or you don't care about your viewers, you don't care about, and we can get a whole into that thing, like, about viewer expectations. We've talked about that before. We could talk about that side of the coin, but and most of the time, somebody who is disgruntled usually pops off and says something like that, and it's not, you probably haven't changed that much, right? You probably are the same person. It's just that, whatever maybe you've changed a little bit, or changed what you're doing, or um you've evolved a slight bit, and someone doesn't like that, right? Or they just got tired of you because you slighted them or something, and they want to, you know, place all this baggage on you that doesn't exist necessarily. Maybe it does. But, I think when someone says something like that to you, I think it's important to actually take a look at that, right? If someone says, hey, you've changed, you're a piece of shit now, like, maybe you should take 2 seconds and turn around and reflect and see how you were. Go watch your VODs, go watch your VODs 6 months ago. Go watch your VODs 2 months ago. Go watch your VODs now. Go look at your social media a year ago. Go look, what you were doing before. Because maybe they're right. Maybe they're right. Maybe not in the strictest of terms. Maybe not everything they say is right, but maybe they're right. You know, uh, maybe you have changed, and maybe you want to change. So maybe you're okay with that. Maybe you look at it and you say, okay, yeah, you're right. I have changed, and I see things differently now, and that's okay because that's what I've chosen. Um, but maybe you don't realize. Maybe you're not in line with those markers that you laid down, and maybe you've changed a bit, and you're like, you need to look back and make a decision whether you'll correct your course back onto where you were, or if this is a new course for you, if you're starting a new direction. um so reflection's important. It's important. If you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. Kind of the old adage about, usually it's applied to like history, right? If you're doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past. Whatever. That kind of thing. But it's I think it's important to reflect, and I think even more it's important to keep perspective, and this is what I really want to talk about. We've been talking about reflection mostly, but what I really wanted to talk about today was perspective. And this is something that I struggle with. It's something that I've seen people struggling with recently, people that are close to me, friends, and people struggle with, a lot. And it's not an easy thing to struggle with as a content creator. Is the perspective, how your perspective changes as you grow, right? We were talking about this a little bit on the stream last night about, how, uh, I'm not the biggest fan of like, really like, um, in your face, what do I call them? I don't know what the term would be, like, gimmicky goals, right? Like, I don't like to see people rent money on their stream. Like we talked about, like, maybe if you're trying to upgrade your stream, and like, okay, we need this specific piece of equipment, or maybe if you have a generic sub count on your stream versus like a sub goal, like if you say, hey, here's how many subs we have versus 225 out of 230, like, one of those sits better with me. Like I'm not a huge fan in general of any of it, but um, I do kind of concede at this point in my content career that some of that becomes necessary, right? You have to remind people of the monetary aspects of things, because a lot of times people won't think about it themselves unless you're like, hey, by the way, you can sub, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I can sub, and I probably should. Um, and if it's your business, like you have to advertise, you have to sometimes, you know, sell yourself and use a little bit of run a fire sale, or whatever. Like you have to do sometimes things, and that's something that I've had to get more comfortable with. I think as a content creator, that stuff's going to happen, and you're going to see that around more. And not all of it is intrinsically bad, if it's done in a way that's transparent, maybe. And I know this is a far. If you listen to early episodes of the podcast, you're like, what is he saying? What a sellout! Because this is probably a stark contrast to a lot of what I've said earlier. That's okay. Things change. Get over it. Uh, you know what I mean? But like, there are, I think there are ways to go about stuff like that. That it's okay. And it depends on you and your community and like what you're comfortable with. I think, but there are some things I still am just like they're pretty black and white for me that I'm like, no, no way, dude. Um, you know, that's just not something that I would do. There are other things that are more gray area that I'm like, okay, if done in the right way, right situation, right circumstance, I could see it. And at some point, if you're trying to go full time and make a living, okay, I could see where it might be necessary to do some of these things. Um, at least to some degree. But I would challenge people to really ponder what's the right way to do those for them and for their stream and for their communities. Because coming off as greedy and um, gimmicky is so easy to do, right? It's very easy to come off that way, even if that's not your intention. And so I would just kind of like, challenge you to, maybe reflect on how you're going about those things if you're going to do them. And make the best decision for you, right? So again, maybe that's a stark contrast from how I used to think about things, but I've evolved. I've reflected. I've got some perspective. As these things become more and more, a part of the day to day of my stream. When I had 300 followers when we started this podcast, and when we had like no viewers and no donos and stuff and no subs and all that stuff, it was maybe easier to be black and white. Not so easy now when that's part of your day to day reality, and like and so well, whatever, things change, get over it. You know what I mean though, like the perspective though, I have a different perspective now than I had then. I have a different, I've reflected on a year's worth of growth or more, in a year's worth of like seeing how the industry works, in a year's worth of going to conventions, in a year's worth of having conversations with other content creators and getting their perspective, and having conversations with my own community and getting their perspective on what they think about all this stuff as well. So it's not just like that one day I'm like, oh yeah, you know what, I can make some money if I change shit up. It's more of like a growth and development in my overall scheme of how things work. Um, but that perspective is important to make those changes. Like you can't change the way you think about something if you don't have perspective, right? If you haven't looked back and reflected. Um, and 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 again, I wanted to talk about perspective because it's so hard to get. It's so easy, or sorry, easy to get wrapped up in numbers. And this is the main point I'm making today. Numbers, right? Like it's so easy to get wrapped up into numbers, and if you don't keep perspective as you grow, then it's hard to appreciate what you have, right? If you're not taking time to reflect and to look back at where you came from, then it's hard to appreciate where you are now and where you're going. Um, and what I mean by that is there was a time when I had 0 viewers, right? There was a time when I had 3 viewers. There was a time when I had 15 viewers, and when I came to Mixer, right, I didn't have that many viewers, and I remember thinking, and we talked about this before, but like, and having 5 viewers was a good day. Having 10 viewers was a really good day. If I somehow got 15 concurrent viewers, that was a fucking monster day. Like that was a monumental day. that was a game changing day. You know what I mean? Like, and there are people that are in that situation still right now because they're just starting, and I remember what that's like, and I remember what it's like to stream to zero people and the struggle of like talking to yourself. Um, and it may seem like if you come to my stream and I usually give a lot of tough love and a lot of like, yeah, well, that's just how it is, because that is how it is, right? You just got to get over it. You got to work past that. Um, and me saying, "Oh yeah, I remember too. It's so hard, man. Like keep it up," is not helpful for you. I feel like it's more helpful for you to be like, get over it, quit whining, go do it, go work. Um, at least that's what helps me. So that's what I also give out. Um, when someone's just like, quit being a baby about it. And so that's kind of what motivates me usually about stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, you're right. You know what? I just to get over it. But I remember what it's like to be there, and I remember what it's like to be at that point, and I remember the mindset of each stage of growth, right? As I went from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 to there are certain like plateaus you hit, right, where you're stuck at 15 forever. I remember being at 15 forever, dude, forever. I could never get above 15 viewers. And I remember thinking, man, if I could just get, I'd look at the directory, right? And the top guys in the directories I was playing had like 20 or 30 or whatever. And I remember thinking, if I could just get to 20 viewers, that would be it. If I could just get to 25 viewers, or the big one for me was 30. If I could just get to 30 viewers, my whole world would change. Like the stream would take off, and I would get, shitloads of followers, and guess what, guys? I regularly pull more than 30 viewers, and you know, I'm still not that much closer to being a full-time content creator than I was at 5. You know what I mean? Like, I have more subs now. It's a little easier to engage for me because I have chat more regularly, and that makes it easier. There's some things that are perks of having more viewers that have helped, and make a little bit more money. Um, but fundamentally not too different from having 5 viewers, honestly. And in the scheme of things, if you look at the scheme of like other sites like Twitch, where people have thousands and thousands and thousands of viewers, 30 is not shit. And for a long time we'd moved past 30, and we were up like 50 or 60 or 70 every night. And that's what I got comfortable with, that, right? And it felt good, and it felt good. Like I was finally, I got past that 30 plateau, and like I hit that 50. And my goal still this year is to be consistently at 50 viewers every night or more by December. And my other goal was to be at 20,000 by December, by the end of the year. I don't know if we're going to hit either one of those, really. I mean, I think the 50 viewers is coming, 20K up in the air. I don't know. Whether we hit them or not is not important. It's just giving me something personally to strive for and to work towards. It's inconsequential whether we actually hit them or not. It's just something to keep me moving forward. Um, but like I said last week, my numbers had taken, or the last episode, my numbers had taken a significant dip. Um, sub wise, follower wise, engagement wise. People just weren't around and engaging as much as they were before. And there were several reasons I listed for that at the time of the year. Me making shit content. I think my schedule, like there was just a number of issues that I felt were compounding. And so I decided to make a few changes, and I made those changes, and I'm slowly seeing things trend back upward above 50 right now. Like I said, we start lower, but by the end of the night, we've now grown. And part of that's, me making better content and engaging better. Part of that is the time zone works better for catching channel ones and features and stuff like that. And I'm benefiting from those. And the time zone works better for catching auto hosts. Like I've spent this year going to a lot of conventions, and some of you might have thought, "Oh, you're crazy spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to go to conventions." Well, guess what? I have a lot of fucking friends now. Good for me. No, but what I mean by that is like I have a lot of people that I know, and a lot of people that I have become friends with, and a lot of people that I support, whether I sub them or I put them on my auto hoster or I host them willingly, or I just spend time in their chat or whatever. And I've spent a lot of time networking with people. And you know what? Some of those, not all of them, but some of those people have said, you know what? Hey man, we're friends, and I like your content, and I feel I trust you with my community. So I'm gonna throw you on my auto host list, or I'm gonna host you, or I'm gonna sub to you, or I'm gonna come chill in your stream for a little bit. And so, I've been the beneficiary of that recently, of a lot of that networking hard work starting to kind of build and pay off. And so that's helped my growth a little bit as I'm in this new schedule, and helped push me back above the last couple of weeks, where I was back to even beyond that sometimes. Been several days where you've ended the night over 100 or more, and not to say that that's the end all be all, like, ideally in an ideal world I'd love to sit at 100 or more without a host, well, like just my community. That'd be great someday. um but right now that's not the reality. Right now is the reality is we have a core group that comes in and out, a different number every day, and then I've done the networking and all that stuff has paid off, and I'm in the community, and so these other opportunities have helped me as well, and that's to me that's all fair game, right? Because I did the work for all of it. Put in the networking time, put in the time for my content, put in the time with my own community, and it's all with these changes kind of paying off. And not to say that, like, oh yeah, yeah, last episode we were doing shitty and this episode we're doing fucking fantastic, like it's not all black and white like that. Like, I'm still having some days that are like not as good as I wish they were, right? And I wish they were better. Um and what I'm getting at here is perspective. Perspective. The me of last year, right? Or 6 months ago or 8 months ago, that me was saying, I wish I could just get the 30 fucking viewers, right? My that would be a dream, to be able to sit at 30 viewers like all these other people I see in the directories, and to be able to pull that off, and to get there and have a community that's actually that strong and talks and blah 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 blah. Well, then you get there and you're like, well, man, if I could just get to 50, if I could just get to 100, if I could just get to 200, if I could just get to 400, if I could just get to 1,000, like 10,000, 100,000, whatever, whether it's followers or viewers or whatever your metric is. um Goals are good, right? Like, if there's nothing wrong with wanting to grow and wanting to continue to grow, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you don't forget, to appreciate um where you've come, like how far you've come, you know what I mean? Like, so at the end of the day, if I don't hit 50 viewers at the end of the year, if I don't hit 100 viewer concurrence at the end of the year, and if I don't, have my own community that's that strong, I mean, I'm not sitting at 5 fucking viewers all night, or 0 viewers all night anymore, right? Like, how cool is that, right? How cool is it that I have 10, 20, 30 people or more every night that come just to watch my content, that literally pay for my content, that sub, that support, that join my Discord, that follow me on social media, that listen to this podcast. Like, how fucking cool is that? That the thing that I've been, working for and working for and working for has seen some gain. Whether that is a incremental gain or a minor gain, or whether it's a major gain. Um, that's pretty fucking cool, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that sit at 1 viewer, 2 viewers, 5 viewers. And those 5 viewers may be their laptop and their iPad and their TV and the Xbox and their friend, and it may not be legitimate 5 viewers, but they would fucking kill to have 10 viewers, right? And they would kill to have 20 viewers, and even sometimes I look, man, I was like, man, I fucking kill to have 100 of my own, right? Like I just said it, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. Again, as long as you keep that perspective and you say, I would kill to have that 100 viewers, but look how cool it is that I've got 20. Look how cool it is that I've got fucking 30. Um, it's really important to keep that perspective as you grow, because I think that that's what keeps you. You know, when people say you've changed or you're not what you were, and like, uh, I think if you keep reflecting on who you were and where you came from, and you keep that perspective, then it's really hard to change who you are at your core. Like, you may have different ideas. Like, okay, some of my ideas have changed and evolved, like we talked today on the podcast, but um at the core, I'm still doing the same thing I was doing before. I'm still focused on chat engagement. I'm still focused on making the kind of content that I like, and then expanding the content to like new kinds of stuff that I want to do, and expanding into games that I want to play regardless of whether or not they bring in big numbers, and because I want to make good content for the people that are already here, and not just chase growth every day. Like, chasing growth is something you got to do, and that's again, whatever. It's all good, but like, at some time you have to, like, take a step back and look at that perspective and like, hey, maybe I should just make good content first, you know, and like maybe I should just play cool games that people might enjoy and do things on stream that people might think are fun or cool or funny or connect with or whatever. Um yeah, and I think that's one thing that people will kind of lose sight of is keeping that perspective. And then I think that's when people stop looking back, they lose the path, right? They start walking wherever, like, ooh, shiny, ooh, shiny, ooh, shiny, like, ooh, sponsorship, ooh, I could get paid to pay a little bit of money to play this game. I could join this stream team, and there's a lot of cool big names on that stream team, and um, that'll be the key, right? And maybe that stream team doesn't really align with their previous goals, and now they've kind of veered from that path, which is okay. But if you don't look back, then you can't make that informed decision, right? Or maybe you um yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? I feel like I've explained myself well here. Good job, me. Let's everybody clap for me. Let's take a moment. Yes, well done, well done. Uh, there's a natural ebb and flow to the whole content creation thing, and I think keeping that perspective keeps you grounded in the downtimes. When my numbers weren't so good recently and I wasn't feeling it, looking back at the perspective said, okay, what was I doing that was succeeding before? What am I doing that's not succeeding now? And it came to be that like, oh yes, okay, schedule change. That way I can make better content. A little bit more conscious effort on making better content and being more engaging on stream. And, I'm not talking about like getting up and fucking juggling flaming batons. Like I'm not, that's not my content style. That's not who I am. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that's gonna fucking rant on stream. I'm the guy that's gonna um talk about Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon cards for 6 hours, like last night. I'm the guy who's gonna tell you about fucking taxes and streaming advice. Like that's who I am, right? I have a stream based on conversation, um, and building that chat engagement, and sometimes we do stupid things and whatever, and sometimes we have good gameplay and stuff like that. But that's all addition to the core of my stream. And it's easy to lose sight of what the fuck you're doing if you're not looking back. um so that's what I would challenge as you're growing. Keep that perspective. If somebody says, hey, you're a sellout, maybe you are. Maybe you should I don't really like the word sellout because that's kind of the point. You're trying to make money, right? Eventually, if you're doing it for a living, selling out is kind of the point, guys. It's the point. As long as you're not selling out your values, right? You know what I mean? Like, but like if someone's, challenging where you are now or who you are based on who you were, like maybe that's a good time to be like, okay, let's take a look. I mean, I don't believe it, maybe I don't believe it. Maybe I do believe it. Maybe I don't, but let's just look. Might as well just look. Let's go watch those VODs. You guys watch your fucking VODs. Some of you suck so bad you don't know it. Me included, like I've been watching some VODs lately. I've been watching VODs from like a month ago, 2 months ago. I went back and watched some VODs from like 4 years ago, just for a little bit of perspective before this podcast. I was doing some cool things back then. I was doing some nice things. I gotta commend myself. Like there were some tidbits of what I do now that I really like. Some things that I really like. There's some really cringy shit, dude. Some really cringy shit. Don't get me wrong. But there are aspects of um what I do now that were like fully formed back then, and I was doing them. I just didn't know how to put them in context with everything else, and like run a good stream. And back then, I was still talking a lot in party chat, and so it made it hard for me to engage the way I engage now. There's a reason I don't play with people, man. There's a reason that when someone's like, "Hey, you want to party up?" I'm like, "Not particularly," and it's awkward for me to say like, "No, I don't want to talk to you." Um, but I'm trying to do something here. I'm not just playing games. I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to make something content. I'm not just playing a video game. You may be just playing a video game, but I'm not. I'm doing something else. While playing a video game. I'm also playing a video game, but you know what I mean. I'm not just playing a video game. I'm trying to create something and build something, and so that perspective, I think helps guide you and helps keep you grounded and makes you not a jackass later on. I spent enough time at cons and stuff to again to meet a few people. You know, most people are cool. Most people are chill and they're down to earth and they kind of remember what it was like because it's not too far removed and they've kept that perspective. Some people have lost all sight of perspective, man. You know, they've made a little bit of money, they have numbers and they look around at all their other numbers and they're like, yeah, I'm fucking killing it, you know? And unfortunately, you know, some of those people may just continue to succeed and go up and up and up and up. Some of those people are going to fall flat on their fucking face, and they're not going to see it coming, right? Because they're going to be, look at my numbers, look at my numbers, look how good everything is. Everything's going so great, and then it's going to not go great one time, and they're not going to know what to do, and they're not going to know why because they've lost the perspective. So it's important to keep that perspective, you know, guys. And you know, I think this applies to a lot of stuff. You like as you grow in life in whatever you're doing, like, you know, making more money at your job or having more responsibilities or whatever, like it's easy to take for granted what you got now. Um, you know, and to shoot for something better than you have. Um, without looking back and seeing, you know, why you want that thing that's better, like where you came from and without really appreciating where you are now. So you should take the time to try to appreciate where you are now. What, you know, what, even if things aren't going exactly how you want them to go, you know, look at where they used to be and look at where they are now. And like, you know, hopefully they're better now than they were. If they're not, then, oh, I don't, you know, don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about then. You know, if things are worse than they were, then, you know, we'll maybe reflect on it. Maybe, you know, maybe figure out why. Um, and watch your fucking VODs. Um, you know, for real though, guys, you really need to watch your VODs. I'm not kidding. Just please do it. Please watch your own content. Make a list of everything you don't like about your own content. It'll help. 100% it'll help. All right, guys, I think we're gonna wrap up there. I think I've beat this one into the fucking ground. Also, I said fuck a lot today. I'm in a mood. I'm in a fucking mood, guys. Uh, sorry for the sensitive listeners out there. But all right, we're gonna wrap it up there, guys. Like I said before, follow me on social media if you want to keep in contact. Join the Discord, guys. We have a new joint Discord. Myself and Caustic Phoenix. Discord.gg/bad guys. It's the same Discord, but it's a new name because we decided to consolidate it down into a joint community for both of our streams. And I like the changes. It's much cleaner and I feel like people have been a little bit more engaged and you know, there's some more place for people to like share their lives and express themselves in different ways. And so hopefully that continues to grow and people are still, you know, getting something out of the Discord and hopefully we can add more to it later on, but discord.gg/bad guys, all one word. So you can come join the bad guys, be a henchman if you want. So new Discord. Guys, if you feel like supporting the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/mudcat, or supporting the stream. You can just come to the stream, click that pink sub button, subscribe, drop some members, drop a dono, whatever. Not necessary, but it is available to you should you feel the need or the desire to help us grow on this journey. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, guys, one more thing. I know I'm like plugging everything today. So I'm no longer putting these videos out on Mixer Live or Rerun. They are going straight to YouTube, and that is youtube.com/mudcat. So if you want to watch me sitting in my room, waving my arms around, flapping my hands, you can't see it, but I'm doing it right now. You know, watch my stupid facial expressions while I'm doing shit. Then, you know, come check it out on YouTube and maybe watch it there if you prefer to consume the podcast in video form, or just drop a sub just to be nice. You know, we're on that YouTube grind as well, trying to grow the channel. So youtube.com/mudcat, guys. I appreciate everything. You know, hopefully as I move forward, I keep perspective about where I've come from, and doing this podcast is a great way for me to do that. It's a great way for me to like reflect on, you know, where I've come and where we're going and talk through some stuff. And so hopefully you guys got something out of this and have some good streams this week or next week or whatever. And I will see you for episode 31 of Rants, which may be after my 30th birthday. I don't know. We'll find out. All right. See you guys later.